So the Habs locked in Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon on 5-year extensions today, basically just a day after extending Lane Hudson to that insane deal. Now, with the extension, Gordon gets a promotion, as it's been reported, to the president of hockey operations, which is officially his title now, but his role within the organization has pretty much been that since he was hired in 2021. But since 2021, when Gordon was brought on and Kent Hughes was brought on as GM in 2022, the Habs have built probably one of the better young cores of talent that is escalating towards the end of the rebuild and into an era of playoff and potentially Stanley Cup contention. The fact that they've been able to lock up all their core guys, bringing on guys like Noah Dobson, and not having any kind of contract that's holding them back. I mean, you could argue maybe Josh Anderson and Brendan Gallagher's contracts aren't great given their production, but even then, like the fact that you have all this talent locked up and none of them are over a $10 million cap hit with the cap going up is super impressive. Now, with all that being said, one thing is clear now for the Montreal Canadiens. If they're going to win a Stanley Cup over the next half decade or so, it's going to be with that young core that they have tied up, and it's with these two guys in the front office. And honestly, I can't argue with that. Outside of maybe the Patrick Laine deal, which I was never really a big fan of, I'm just not a huge fan of Laine's game. The Habs have made terrific moves, and honestly, you can criticize the Kirby Dach deal as well if you want to, but I think a large part of that has been injuries, which is outside of the organization's control. But outside of that, the Habs have done a tremendous job. You can see the guys on their roster developing: Caden Gooley, Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki becoming a true bona fide number one center. Those are all guys that developed that were already in place when these guys came into the fold, and they've done a tremendous job in terms of player development. Uri Slavkovsky continues to improve. He's got another level to hit, and obviously the drafting of guys like Lane Hudson, Michael Hage. I mean, these are all going to be very integral parts to the roster if this roster competes for Stanley Cup one day. I think the big X factor in the Habs rebuild is David Reinbacher, and if he can hit his ceiling as that guy to come in and solidify the top four of this defense as a true two-way presence to really stabilize that blue line, I mean, this team would have very little flaws, especially if Jacob Fowler could hit his ceiling. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that ownership has now dedicated lots of term and money to all these people, and the expectations are going to continue to rise. I personally think that they're ready for it. Over the next 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, they should be a contender, but still a lot of progress to be done. At the end of the day, this is still a team that was knocked out by the Capitals last year in the first round, so there's still some improvement, but I guess we'll just have to see.